Yo, what's up, Brick Squad? Welcome back to another episode of Matt's Mind here on the channel. Thank you guys for all your support on the comeback episode last week. Before we go to get started, make sure you guys subscribe and like this video. Now, if you have a question for next week's episode you'd like me to answer here on the video, make sure you comment down below. But without any further delay, let's go ahead and just jump right on into the first question of the day from Chandler L. Are you ever going to take your Christmas decorations down? Well, the tree's still there. It's not lit up though. It's just kind of there because we don't have anywhere else to put it, but you could see the things are gone. The things that used to be there, so they're pretty much down. There you go. Next question here from Coconut Brick Studios. Has your channel influenced what you want to study or what you want to do for a career? Absolutely. In fact, the past couple of months, I've been making some serious strides to get myself into photography and videography production. I've actually learned that I have a real passion and I think a real talent for that kind of stuff through doing YouTube for the past however many years. So yes, absolutely. My professional aspiration right now is to be a full-time videographer, photographer, freelance for production person. So me learning throughout my time here on the platform of editing and shooting and making sure the background, making sure I'm in frame, all that kind of stuff has definitely influenced what I want to do. So I definitely say that through YouTube and through making content here on the platform for TheBrickWiz has absolutely 100% shaped what I want to do with my life for the future. Next question here comes from Garen Smith. Have you ever thought about making a LEGO Clout House sort of thing for all huge Mach builders and guys or gals like M&R Productions, like FaZe Clan, Sidemen, all that kind of stuff? Absolutely. In fact, I'd probably say that's like my dream. I don't know how attainable it is for the LEGO community. Organizations like FaZe Clan, like Sidemen, obviously there's a huge demand for content like that, so I'm not sure how well that would translate into the LEGO community, but yes, if you're asking me, that's like the one goal that I want to get done. Eventually I want to move out, obviously, once I'm done with school, once I have my professional career set up for myself. I think it'd be super awesome to move into a big house together with a whole bunch of other content creators, obviously finding people that I would make that content with and who I would house with. That's obviously a separate process in finding out who I want to be rooming with, but the concept behind a content house or a cloud house is super fun, right? You are living with other content creators, you're making content that's going to help propel each other, help grow each other with brand awareness, marketing, all that kind of stuff. So the concept is awesome. I do really want to do it. As far as who I'd want to go with, there's a couple of names that come to mind. Number one on my list gotta be my man Jalen. I think that'd just be content overload 24/7. Obviously, I'd like to also maybe get Chris in there. Even though David's already moved in, I think that'd be really cool to be housing with him. So obviously I'll cross that road if and when it ever comes, but I'd love the idea of a content house. It's so fun to me, so I'm gonna try my best to make it work throughout the next couple of years. Next question here from Prequel Stud. Marry, kill, kiss, Rancor, Accolade, or Zillow? I'd probably, that's a tough question. I'd probably kill Rancor. I'd kiss Zillow and marry Accolade. Next question here from Jay Deggle. What are your thoughts on Lepin? I'm not a fan. I think that kind of goes without saying. I'm okay with them making like original things, but when they start ripping off of IPs and literally carbon copying official LEGO sets that are trademarked and copyrighted, like obviously that's an issue. I don't agree with Lepin stealing the designs from the people who are paid to design this stuff for LEGO. Like obviously Lepin has recreated big sets and some sets that aren't even in current production. That way they're trying to fill that gap, I guess, in void within the desire of the community. So I kind of like get where they're coming from, but when they start ripping off of official LEGO sets, when they steal designs from LEGO designers or even custom Mach makers, that's where I have an issue with it. They're clearly not giving the people credit that they deserve, which is where my main issue with it is. Now on the other side, I do realize that LEGO is really expensive, and for a lot of people Lepin sort of fills that gap, so I can kind of understand that to a very minimum extent. I'm still largely against Lepin, so yeah. Next question here comes from Ballistic Build. Would you consider starting a Mach showcase series like Jay, just because it's interesting to see different tastes or takes on Machs? I've actually thought about this quite extensively, and I've actually really wanted to get into it. The only issue is obviously that Jay has sort of done that, right? And I feel like if I kind of hopped on that wagon now, I think people would not necessarily receive it well. If a Mach series showcase video is something you guys would like to see, where I go through Flickr, I go through Rebrickable, and just sort of explain different Machs that I come across and sort of stuff like that, obviously giving the original creators the credit they deserve. If you guys want to see that, let me know down below in the comments. Maybe that's something I could start up here on the channel. But obviously a part of me would like to make that series different from Jay's. So like, what can I do differently in my series, my hypothetical series, that would make my myself different from Jay's videos. So any ideas, any tips about that, let me know down below. Next question comes from Aiden H. Favorite moment from a convention? That's a tough one. There are a ton of really fun moments that I can like vividly remember. I think the most recent vivid memory of where I was just like, I'm having so much fun not caring what other people think is during the past year at 2019 Brick World Chicago, when we had the ball going around the entire convention during World of Lights. That was such a fun time. Jay was blasting the Gungan theme music at the end of episode 1, where Boss Naz like lifts up the ball. It was such a funny time. And I remember my friend Hunter's dad was there, and it was just a series of wacky circumstances and just a whole bunch of fun. So that's gotta be like one of my most vivid memories. There are a lot of things that I don't show on camera that happen off camera that I'm not vlogging that also happened. But as far as like content that you guys have seen, my favorite moments probably gotta be the ball. Next question here comes from Eric Wright. Will there be a clone turbo tank on your Mach? I don't believe so. Well, actually, I know so that's not gonna be there. I've looked at clone turbo tanks and I don't like the designs of a lot of them. My favorite one's probably going to be from the TheBrickWiz. So I'd obviously love to eventually build that model. It's an incredibly detailed model, but it doesn't fit with the current scale of an Axis. So as far as I'm aware right now, I will not be including any more turbo tanks or any more different styles of vehicles. I think I have just enough to the point of where I don't need any more. I don't want to detract too much away from the Mach by adding like several vehicles and stuff like that. So as of right now, no. Next question comes from Michael Irvin. What is your favorite LEGO Ideas set? Probably the old fishing store. I think that was a really nicely designed set. It was really different from a lot of sets and modular buildings that I've seen. Even though it's not technically a modular set, it's obviously LEGO Ideas, but that was a really cool design. I'm really banking on a Brick and Nick Cybertruck to be made into a LEGO Ideas set. I hope LEGO wouldn't detract too much detail from the original model, and then obviously they have to make it like consumer friendly, so hopefully LEGO wouldn't take a lot of details away. But if I had to choose one that I really want that would 100% be my favorite, it's definitely Brick and Nick Cybertruck. Next question comes from Peter Skorek. What is your favorite Avengers movie? That's a tough one. I mean, Iron Man 1 is probably my favorite movie from Avengers ever. It's such a classic, it's so good. But I guess your question is more so talking about the Avengers movie, so like Avengers, Age of Ultron, obviously, and then Infinity War and Endgame. I'd probably say my favorite's probably Infinity War. I actually wasn't like overly ecstatic about Endgame. It was still really fun to watch and a decent ending, but I don't know, Infinity War seems so much more fun to watch, more upbeat, more like constant action, boom boom boom. I'd say it's a toss up between Infinity War and then the first Avengers. The first Avengers is definitely like a classic, really good movie. The next question here comes from BrickBro737. Would you rather see an Old Republic movie or a side story on Sith or Jedi like Darth Revan? As far as overall, I'm ready to move past the Skywalker saga, so I would want a trilogy based on the Old Republic. I want to see the time where the Sith were at their high point, right? Giant like Sith and Jedi battles would be super cool. So I'd love an original trilogy based off of the Old Republic era. Now, as far as like solo movies and side stories, I'd actually really like to see a solo movie about young Sheev, young Palpatine, and his sort of transition into this Dark Lord, into being like the most powerful Sith in the entire universe. I think that would be a really cool movie to watch, seeing obviously him being trained, his progression. I'm assuming he didn't start out always being evil, so it'd be cool to see him slowly turn throughout the entire movie, and then to becoming this super well-known, well-feared Sith and all that kind of stuff. So as far as like a trilogy, I gotta say Old Republic, but as far as a side story, I'd really like to see a Sheev Palpatine one. The next question here from Sandre Faines. How much do you think your collection is worth? That's a good question. I've actually been selling a lot of my sealed sets. I used to be really into collecting those when I first started here in the community, but I've kind of realized that I'd like to put the money more towards Machs and more towards camera gear, like this brand new lens I'm using. So I think that it would probably, if I had to guess, I mean, considering all my parts and then all my sealed sets and my Machs, it'd probably be anywhere between $20,000 to $40,000. I don't know. It would take months for me to actually inventory like every single piece and every single set I have. So as a rough estimate, it's probably at least 20,000, no more than 40. So anywhere between that amount is probably fair game. I don't have an exact response or an answer, so I apologize, but again, if I had to give a rough estimate, somewhere between that range. The next question here comes from Stormy Bricks. Do you have a general idea of what you want your next Mach to be, and if so, will it be based off the sequel trilogy? I'm pretty certain that it's not going to be sequel trilogy. I've done a crate, which was already a sequel one. Obviously, I'm doing an Access, which is Clone Wars. As far as episode 9 goes, I didn't see anything that warrants a big battle scene in LEGO, at least from my perspective. Obviously, from The Last Jedi, we had Crate. From Force Awakens, we had Starkiller. But in episode 9, I guess there was Exegol, but there was no land battle. It's mostly just ships. I think if I did want to build something sequel, it would probably be a giant Star Destroyer, like minifig scale, but then it would just be a portion of it, and then have like the Resistance and the First Order or Sith troopers going against each other. But as far as the next Mach, I'm fairly certain it's going to be based around the original trilogy era. Maybe Mandalorian, maybe episode 4, 5, or 6, something like that. I'm not too certain yet. I still have a little bit of ways to go on my current project, but I will be thinking about that seriously. But as far as hints I can give you, it's going to be something around the Imperial era. And the last question for today comes from Connor Murray. What do you like to do to keep yourself grounded? Well, I'll be entirely honest with you. I don't really think I have a high head or anything like that. I'm generally not a cocky person, and I guess a cocky person would say they're not a cocky person, but I consider myself pretty humble. I don't like to brag or like put my name out there a lot. I kind of learned to keep myself grounded through playing competitive sports when I was younger, so I'm not one to generally flex or anything like that, and if it does come across like that, it's not intentional. But I will admit, and I think this is just sort of like a reality thing, whenever I do meet fans, again, I hate using that term, but whenever I do meet fans or viewers of the channel in real life and they want me to sign something or take a picture, like, I'm not gonna lie, I get a little bit of a high off of it. It's really cool because it's I'm impacting that person's life to a certain extent where they think that I'm worthy of taking a picture. So, but honestly, I don't think I'm generally someone who likes to be cocky or be arrogant with the kind of stuff I am. As far as my own like channel here, yes, 13,000 subscribers is a pretty large number, but it's not anywhere near where I want it to be. So I'm still in the mindset of, you know, I got to keep my head down, work really hard, get the stuff I want to get stuff done now. That way I can set myself up for future success. I'd say I do a pretty good job of regulating my intake on YouTube and how much time I put into YouTube, even though it's not really something that at this point sustains me. I'd also say my parents are really good at keeping me grounded. I'm obviously not losing myself and just completely devoting my entire life to YouTube, because obviously I do have to worry about a professional career. If YouTube does not sustain that, I have to worry about school currently. So I mean, that's kind of sort of how I handle staying grounded and staying humble. Like I said, I've pretty much been fairly humble, pretty much been quiet my entire life, so I'm not one to go out and brag and flex. But I guess that's also a good tip for you guys watching. If you ever feel the need to brag, you just relax, take a second, check yourself, and stay humble, because 95% of the time it's the humble people, it's the people who do their work without bragging about it, who do actually succeed later in life. So guys, that wraps up Matt's Mind. Hope you all enjoyed. Like I said before, if you guys have a question you want me to answer next week, drop a like down below and comment your question down below. And of course, if you guys haven't already, make sure you subscribe with that notification bell on, that way you don't miss these posts. Thank you to everyone who did comment questions for this week's episode. You can also comment some for next week's too. It's not just the one question per person thing. So guys, any questions at all, down below. But until next time, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your wonderful day or night or morning, whatever you're watching this. I'll see you later. Take it easy. Peace.